What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. We had CPI today. It's a bit of a choppy market. It was a pretty decent print. Here comes my cat, of course. Oh, yeah, buddy. Hold on 1 second, dude. Let me just get my stuff together. Hi. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, so we had a decent CPI print. Traders are still counting on Fed cuts, October and September, or excuse me, September, October. So 2 by the end of this year. So that's typically, I mean, that's good news for the market. Market's going to want to rally on that. For now, I am, like I said, I do have well, actually, I don't know if I said it, but I am bullish on the market. I like Dow specifically just because I feel like it should need to play catch up as long as ES and NQ continue moving higher, which they are. Let me just shout out to the Discord. Now, there you go. Sorry, guys. I'm going through this like weird sinusy sort of issue thing. Anywho, yeah. So I do think Dow is a good opportunity for a long. I just don't know where to look for it because I don't really trade Dow very often. But you can see, and I also like NQ at least up into the new week opening gap to fish around there. I don't know where to buy Dow. Like there's not a whole lot of clear framework besides the S&T on the lows between like the yesterday's action. Maybe this is kind of down closed, maybe put in the order block here on the 2-minute and 3-minute. Kind of hard to say. Just because it's not as obvious where it started from origin. I probably would have liked it to have dipped below these lows and maybe, into these candles if it was then going to begin to make its move higher. But there are plenty of nice draws here on the Dow. You have these highs, you have these highs as well. And then you have the 8:30 news high. So, I mean, we'll mark them out and we'll kind of wait. I'm also going to mark out midnight, just kind of get a feel for where I'm at in relation to the Globex open. That's going to be right there. We are way above it. How about Dow? Did Dow touch it? Is Dow way below it? It is indeed. I don't know, 1-minute fair value gap on Dow. Did we just rip it? 2.7. What does that look like? Maybe. So we're long one full-size mini on Dow. I think I could at least take these highs. Play a little opposites. I feel like what we really need is a 5-minute close above here. Otherwise, I think I'll probably scoot out of Dow and wait for a better entry opportunity. Well, that's a bit of a nasty spike to the downside. Okay, good continuation on NQ. You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about NQ possibly wanting to run these lows out before really continuing up higher. That would be a problem for me in this Dow position. A lot of hesitance. I mean, I also would like to trade NQ. It's just I don't. Okay, so there goes the divergence now on the highs. Now I need to be careful with ES. and NQ possibly wanting to dip back into the range after taking the data high. Yeah, the Dow is just being a bear to trade at the moment. I'm going to get to NQ here because I do see the possibility for an opportunity to get short back into the range, but I'm not going to force anything at the moment. So yeah, NQ kind of moving back into the range. Dow's very slow here. I would have liked to have seen something more rapid on Dow, like some sort of like real catch-up move here. So that's kind of concerning how slow it is still. I'm looking for this type of action on Dow, like, you know, more aggressive moves to the upside for Dow. You can see NQ still kind of strong, like still trying to push through, but just not. Okay, there you go. That's a much better move for the Dow. I was waiting for something like that, some real momentum out of Dow to play catch up here. Definitely going to minimize risk on that kind of jump up. That's the kind of signature that I was looking for us to really start to push higher. We'll see. It just took out these equals. Oh, my cat, dude. We'll see if it wants to. Sorry, I'm just getting situated. What now is the kind of nervous part is maybe Dow takes these highs, NQ. Well, okay, good. So NQ is starting to show some speed above the high, which I like. But what I was just about to explain was that, you know, there's a potential that Dow takes this high, NQ takes this high, ES does not. That creates enough reason for Dow to take liquidity and move lower, and Q to create divergence with ES and then move lower. But for now, you can see it's okay. There you go. That's good. The Dow speed is nice to see speed out of the Dow here. And I'm kind of just watching NQ to move into the new week opening gap. That's like my safety net. The Dow trade was a little bit scary for a second just because Dow lags so much. I really want to see Dow really take off from midnight here. I don't really want to see any deep retracements. As far as stop placement goes on the Dow, I mean, you'd hope that the stop is safe under these down close candles, but since we're moving into midnight, I don't want to see any real deep retracements from the Dow. So I'm going to move my stop pretty much to even after getting a nice move in our favor. And again, just because the concept of Dow being the laggard, I don't really see the reason for it to retrace very deeply after it kind of takes off. I kind of just want to see a straight up move, so I'm okay with foregoing the trade if it comes down and takes me out at even, just by proxy of where, you know, the other markets are still at. Yeah, it's frustrating, but what are you gonna do? I mean, yeah, all right. Not the time, I guess. I'm okay with taking the break-even stop there. I mean, well, we could reevaluate as it moves into this down close candle, but now we have to tangle with ES and NQ diverging on the highs as well. So. That's the action why I took the stop to even. Is because again, if we were really going to meaningfully rally, you'd really want to see the Dow just kind of go straight up, considering how far behind it is from the other indexes. I mean, just from an hourly perspective, look how far behind the Dow is. It has these highs to take, this high to take, and Q and ES are already chugging along. So if the Dow was going to continue to move, it should have just continued and no real deep retracements. And I'll keep that in mind for, you know, trades going forward. You know, if I'm going to take one on the Dow, but at this point, just the action on the Dow is also very sloppy. If you look at the 5-minute, it's as clean as I think it would really get. It's just, you know, you have the change in state delivery here. excuse me, I'm all stuffy still. You have the change in state of delivery there after sweeping these lows. You also have a small sweep down here. So I'm not sure that we would really necessarily need to go below those lows. Again, it's kind of dependent on how NQ wants to act at this point. I might even take this short on NQ, considering Dow's weak and ES has the divergence there. I'm going to try a couple there, just as it's like in the premium side of this fair value gap. If I do get stopped out, I'm going to kind of accept that NQ is just incredibly strong, and obviously this is the draw up here. And I'm not going to really try to trade too many downside retracements with NQ. And again, I'm kind of using the Dow as my North Star here. I'm recognizing that if the Dow is going to continue, if the Dow is showing weakness, we probably will get some weakness in the other indexes. Oh, sorry. I meant to check on my OBS, make sure everything's okay. So NQ still just showing strength. Back up into the 1 minute fair value gap. There's no reason for me why it wouldn't at least take this low here. It's currently the bridge I'm looking at. So that 1 minute to that low makes sense to me. ES is kind of finding some strength, not puking lower. So kind of do have to be careful with that. Switch to the 5 minute real quick. Yeah, Dow sort of giving it up here. So that's kind of my signal that I'm assuming the rest of us should as well. 9:45, okay. NQ comes up, taps that data high once more, and now is rejecting on the 1 minute. That's a better look for me. Just needs to continue down. It's obviously giving me a hard time and not moving very quickly. Not entirely comfortable with the way NQ, you know, bled above this data high again. I liked the immediate wick touch. The bodies respecting it is one thing, but we did just volume imbalance up to it. So again, that's like another sort of red flag here in this trade. Just trusting the S&T at this point in the PD array to at least take me down into a reasonable low level. Again, I do have Dow moving lower, which is also a reason that I would feel sort of comfortable considering Dow's the weaker asset. If Dow's going to continue moving lower, I believe the other indexes probably should find some weakness as long as they're showing technicals that that weakness is present. And we do have that on these 5 minute lows. Let me just make sure that I'm not being lied to. Yeah, I do think, I mean, everything checks out for NQ. Dow's continuing lower. This is just getting a little sketchy to hold. Again, I do like how it's finding resistance here at the data high. I just think it's taking a lot of time up there, which is making me uncomfortable. I'm also looking at this volume imbalance on the 1 minute, seeing if, it's possible that NQ may want to stab up into that and then reject. I'd rather it not, but that's a possibility for some sort of wick up, kind of trap some people. Dow is completely filled in this 1 minute fair value gap bullish. It's a little suspect, I have to admit. I'm not incredibly happy with the action. The Dow does have this 1 minute fair value gap, but I'm not happy with how NQ is acting. It is respecting the 1 minute fair value gap, but as far as speed goes and aggressiveness, not very much. And same with ES. Rejecting the fair value gaps nicely, but the speed and the attitude in which it's doing it is not great. Good rejection off the Dow. I mean, I really don't understand why the other indexes wouldn't kind of tank and fall over here if the Dow's going to fall out of bed as well. I'm reducing risk. There's no point in taking any sort of sizable loss on this trade. It's taking too long. Is there any like news at 10 o'clock? Like, what's the deal? I'm giving the data high one more chance. I'm going to be kind of pissed off if it comes up and takes me out above here in that volume imbalance, but it's okay. I'm just going to sideline and what wait. Yeah, just a weird sort of move. Had the feeling. It didn't feel right. It was taking way too long. Use more leverage. What's up, backtest? How you doing, man? You're right, though. Maybe if I use more leverage, the markets will move. I really want to trade Dow. I like the Dow upside trade. It's just waiting. Yeah, I hear you. There's not too much, you know. I like the levels above here, backtest. I like the COVID cough. Do you trade a personal account? Dude, I don't know what's good. I don't think I have COVID. I think it's just like a sinus infection. If that, I feel like I'm sort of getting over it a little bit. But dude, I woke up and my nose was just completely clogged. So I've been taking some Sudafed and stuff, and it's like sort of helping. Do I trade a personal? Not at the moment. I used to. All I used to do is trade personal, actually. I used to trade options and all personal funds, futures as well. Bring back COVID 2025. I would love to trade NQ to the upside too. It's just there's nothing for me. Dow's kind of confusing me. Really slow still. And then you have to think like, well, what are we gonna how if the Dow's not ripping to the upside here to play catch up, and NQ and ES are, and there's some draws to the upside for both ES and NQ right up here, but NQ more the immediate up into the new week opening gap. You have to think like, well, what are we doing? Kind of a tough one. Or wait for PM session. I may. I mean, we'll see. Honestly, I don't really love trading PM session. Happy to buy or sell. Yeah, I'm sort of the same way. I just the upside made a lot of sense for me this morning. Backtest, I really liked, and I really liked the low-hanging fruit objective with NQ and ES to the upside, and then I really liked the idea of like maybe catching a Dow trade. I typically never trade the Dow, but I think the Dow has great structure to play catch up to the upside. You have these equal highs, these equal highs. It's just a matter of like I didn't really love where Dow retraced on the lower time frames. I kind of would have much rather seen Dow into this gap. Like if this move here started at this gap, I would be a lot more confident. And happy to buy or sell. Why are you copying me? AM price action is trash for today. Yeah, it could be. You know, it could very well turn into that, Mr. Wisdom. It could very well just be trash for this morning. And right now, I mean, from a technical standpoint, it is. You know what I mean? This short was, in theory, should have been a nice short, at least out to this low to 5-minute gap. So I'm kind of am looking for shorts, to be honest with you, for some sort of retracement. Yes, it's still very slow to take the data high. And NQ is making its way into that new week opening gap. It's old, but it's there. So, I don't, look, I think that could be a catalyst, that old new week opening gap for a short. Again, Dow is pretty ugly to the downside here. So, we'll see. So there goes NQ into that new week opening gap. Let's see if ES wants to take that data high or not. Just shy of the new week opening gap. I don't love to see that. I would much rather it take that, at least tap into it. Excuse me, sorry for all the chest clearing. All right, there it goes. If ES could hold the data high lower, that would be sick. It's actually not the worst thing in the world to try a short on ES to hold that data high. I don't hate it. I do not hate it. Well, now I do, because I didn't want it to take the high. That was just a quick try at maybe a short for the data high. I mean, if it pukes the low, like if it soups it, then okay, but I was looking for the divergence there. You do still kind of have it, but I think we're going to run back to NQ. Uh-oh, I don't like the action on Dow, and I just bought the absolute low of that candle. Now Dow finally playing catch up. This is ridiculous. I also wish that it would show me my new week opening gap on the 15-second time frame here, so I could have a little bit more of a look here. ES showing strength. I could have just put myself in a really bad position. Have you ever seen someone buy the actual low of a 1-minute candle like that? Or excuse me, sell the low like that? Wow, if that's not talent, I don't know what is. Bro, now you're gonna get ripped. Place a buy limit. Yeah, this sucks. I guess I have to get out of it. Wow. I should have, I was a little bit chasey. I was kind of hoping on ES to hold that high. Once it took that high, I probably should have just kind of waved my white flag, and especially that Dow started to rip up. Although this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like this Dow area, it's kind of messing with my head. I guess we wait for ES to take some of the equal high levels that I have listed. And that's going to be right here. I'll mark that out. This is like 5901. We'll just kind of sit on our hands now and see if we could recover a little bit. Yeah, would have liked to see Dow kind of. It's just Dow had a tough place for. I mean, I guess you have the 15-minute gap. You have this down close candle came down into it 9:30. I guess, but the smaller time frame structure was just not very convincing. I really would have liked it to have seen it into this gap here. But sometimes, you don't get it. Bro, that's not how you trade cherry pick. Well, it is how I trade. It may not be how you trade, but I do try to cherry pick some spots. If I were you, no more trade, I will be on my paper trading account. I respect that, man. I respect that opinion. Thank you. I appreciate your concern for my safety. That's genuine. I do. Yeah, backtest. Look, you know me, man. I'm gonna kind of do what I do anyway. I typically don't let too many people's opinions phase me. I hate how this is not showing on my 15-second chart. Does it show on the 30? A little bit. I guess we'll hang out on the 30-second for now. Small divergence on those highs. There goes the 10 a.m. open. Straight down, this looks like it could be an inversion. I'm looking for this to be the inversion here. After the 10 a.m. open. And I kind of like the retracement into the 5-minute gap down to the lows. A lot of data problems on Topstep here. I'm not interested if NQ takes this high because you do have the 1-minute divergence on that high. I'm looking for the small time frame rejection here. These bottom side wicks are not incredibly comforting, but I do like how the bodies were respecting previously. I mean, if I'm going to get stopped, I get stopped here. Damn, man. Respect, KW. Love your courage, though. Much love. I couldn't do it. Respect. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm getting rinsed here, trying to trade some smaller dynamics, which is okay. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes it's just not how the cookie crumbles. We've taken a few stabs at it short and just not getting any follow through. We may have to actually be patient for once. Although all kind of valid setups for me. I mean, I like that. The narrative makes sense to me there. You had the 4-hour open, 1-minute divergence. I'm using that for a low-hanging fruit target into the 5-minute lows. Maybe these lows here, a little bit of AMD, just for the 4-hour to then once lower and then maybe resume higher. But for now, it seems like it's kind of just relentless upside. And again, the Dow is kind of what's confusing me here, is that if we were just going to, completely trend to the upside today, I'm totally fine with that. And in fact, that's what the bias is. But I would like to see Dow kind of pull up some sort of six sister here and start moving higher as well. And for that reason, it is what it is. Wow. Had a good entry in there too, like pretty much right in the inversion gap. Bodies were kind of trying to sell it, but one large candle away. Did you guys notice how Topstep the data lags, like with the candle wicks? I'll have to look at what the like there's like obvious points. I have to mark it down because I'm always complaining to them, and then they just gaslight me and say that there's nothing wrong. Let's write down here what the timestamp of the stream was. What is that, around 29? So like 28, 27? Issue 27 minute. What's today's date? The 13th, 5/13. Possible Dow reclaim on that 5-minute? It's not a terrible look. I just don't want to go chasing here. 5-minute order block kind of reholding. I don't like how it led right below, like way below the midpoint of it though. It's a nice candle, come down touch. It's sort of a, this is all balanced to how the body closed right above all the balance. Now it comes down, reclaims the opening price of that order block. Technically, it's a great sort of signature, but something just feels weird about it. The Dow is so sketchy. You do have the sweep too. It's just you have all this mess. Like you have this huge gap here. Big volume imbalance, not very pretty. More data lag. You can see how it got rid of the wicks. It finally came back. So when I'm flipping through timeframes, that actually makes it really difficult to understand where I'm at. Look at that. Like what? Weird. Weird. Yeah, see, look at Dow kind of stabbing below these lows again. Just very high resistance on Dow. I think if Dow does turn around, though, it's just going to kind of turn around and never look back. You know what else I kind of hate? So see how we bled through this a little bit? Look how clean it is on the regular NQ contract. Look how nice that precision touch is. That's the type of stuff that would pull me out of that trade. It would kind of save me if I saw it like that. But unfortunately, I only have so many eyes, and I'm kind of was more looking at this here. Son of a gun. So yeah, here's the relentless. This is again, it's very confusing action to me because of how decoupled the Dow is. I do see a lot of opportunity in the Dow as an upside trade, but I just don't know where to get long the Dow. Buddy, what? Again, ES has like a very likely draw to this to these 4-hour equal highs. And then also if you look at the weekly chart, it's a full fill of this weekly fair value gap, like right as you take those highs. So that could be the point that I need to wait for. You have NQ into the midpoint of that old new week opening gap. I think a scalp is reasonable here to try to get short one. Actually, I'm going to wait. I want to look at the smaller time frame structure because it just feels like ES wants to take that high above. Since there was no weakness on ES, I can't really scalp that just because it seems like it really wants to reach for that level. All right, I understand where I need to wait for NQ here. It's on the hourly chart, and if we just look way left on the hourly chart, you'll see we have this nice fair value gap here. Fair value gap order block. So let's draw all that good stuff out. This part is the balanced price range of the hourly fair value gap. And if it's rejecting beforehand, well, that just means we're probably going to rip higher through it, and it's not going to give me a nice short opportunity. But now I have something to target, you know what I'm saying, on the upside. This becomes a draw for me, this area. So I'm not upset if it wants to move lower now. And then we'll even draw out the order block here if we really care to. So there you go. We've given ourselves plenty of targets now. To the upside. Dow still just like super laggy. I'll measure out the midpoint of this hourly fair value gap on the Dow just to keep an eye on it. Just as like a reference, you know, something to look at. Catch a feel of where we're at. Yeah, I don't understand why it's not visible on my 15-second chart. It should be there. That's a little annoying. 30 seconds there, but you know me, man. I like my 15-second chart. So if it doesn't meaningfully retrace before moving into this gap, then you know the narrative then becomes short. And a short does look really good. I mean, look at these 30-second structure here. So low resistance. I'd actually prefer it not come down. I just would like to go up there because the short looks good. Structure here, structure there. These equal lows. I mean, that's a pretty nice setup for me. Dow finally starting to kind of move a little bit higher into this 1-minute balance price range, or excuse me, 30-second balance price range that was left from our previous long, which was annoying because that was a good $270 trade. But I was happy to hold that for, you know, the overarching narrative. It was just going to puke, like absolutely rocket higher. Clearly it didn't. We gave our money to NQ per usual, right? At least I didn't give it to Dow. I'd probably be pretty sick if I gave it to the Dow. Dow's just ugly. I mean, look at that. That's hard to get on board with, to be fair. Like if you deal with, as far as the order block goes, it did its job. You know what I mean? Like if you trade just change in state, you get long, right, on the open of this candle or on the close of this one, whatever, and your stop goes below here. He took a lot of, like a good amount of heat, and it wasn't incredibly comfortable, but like say you, like that trade still, realistically, it's valid. Let's see where you're at here. So you're risking, sorry, about 83 points, and what are we up now? 40 points. Oops, sorry. And obviously, first target would be these equals, and then ultimate catch up is all the way up here. So it's enough, but I don't know. I typically like to see a little bit more precision out of the technicals, and we just did not get that. So there goes ES. I like that move on the upside. I'm now pretty confident that I can try to take a short. And the Dow I'm just going to ignore because it's been such a pain in the ace. Strong move. Strong punch through the upside. Dow maybe takes data high. We'll see. Dow does have a draw to the upside, but I'm going to kind of see if I can just focus on NQ here. So into that 1 hour order block, into the 1 hour gap, more data issue. Clearly we know that there's a wick into this, but you know, look at that. That's disgusting. Okay, finally loads. None of my drawings are showing up on the 15-second chart. That I'm not happy with. You know, guys, hold on. I'm gonna try to reset my thing, see if I can get my drawings on my lower time frames. It's not working. Super annoying. All right, I mean, it is what it is. I'll just deal with it for now. Why do you do this? Big shove for the Dow here. I just want to see where I'm at. I'm gonna take a floater. just a few. And I'm gonna kind of let this play for a little bit. I don't want to miss it if it's abrupt, you know. I'm okay to take a floater position there and kind of hold through this mess. 230, so max is going to be around 60 points, like into here before I would add any more. I mean, if it just melts through everything, then GG, it's a rough day. Couldn't get any of the shorts. So now we're into the midpoint of the hourly fair value gap. So above us, we have the balanced price range. I'm just kind of letting price do its thing. Hourly BPR now. Dow's running for the high. It's not great. We are just absolutely melting through all the bearish arrays. Maybe midpoint of the wick, but my stop is there. And honestly, it's kind of a bad trade if it goes all the way up there anyway. Like I'm in the wrong spot if that's the case, and I have to take a breather. I'm going to add as it's into the top end of that balanced price range on the hourly. And it looks like the 15-second bodies are respecting. I can't really tell just because it's, you know, I can't. So I don't want to see it respect the midpoint of that balance price range. I want to see it kind of fall through. Dow finally took the data high. Maybe it wants to kind of squeeze one more shot there. I'm positioned terribly from that floater position. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the second to draw this stuff out on my other chart so I have an idea of where I'm floating. Still around the midpoint of that BPR. I think that might be the only thing I care about drawing out right now. So let's just run that over there. Go like that. So we're still floating around that 1 hour BPR. I think it could be a good spot for that second ad, where that second ad is positioned. It's just, I don't know how we're in great shape we are right now. So we're below it, which is good. That means we're getting closer to my average. So it'd be absolutely sick if this is breakaway on the 1 minute. That would be awesome. Because then I don't have to really worry about too much. I could just kind of hold this trade into the hourly order block open, watching it as it's kind of into the top end of the new week opening gap. MNQ is slightly behind here. Regular NQ contract is tapping into the top of end of that new week opening gap, so I do have to be careful as it's also playing with the midpoint of this wick. I will move to that to show you for a second. So you can see NQ, regular NQ is in that gap. It's kind of dug in nicely, and regular MNQ is not. Divergence on these lows now. Dow towards midnight. I'm going to get ready to get defensive here. Yeah. I'm going to trim just the first ad here. So now this is my best average. I can kind of hold that for a little bit. Just as we're all like, there's SMT between these lows on NQ and ES, and then you have Dow reaching into midnight. It's a very shallow poke that Dow made into the data high, so I'm going to be kind of cautious. Really want to see speed down out of NQ here, otherwise I'm going to really start to trim. Yeah, I took a couple off. I just want to limit some of the blood here. I could always re-enter. And technically the stop should be pretty safe up here if I want to leave that runner. And maybe think about re-adding into this gap here. That's a good move. You want to see this gap get inverted and ran through. You don't want to see it support anything. And by you, I mean me. I mean, I'm sure you're not in this trade, but I want to see it get ran through. Again, there is SMT on these lows between ES and NQ. This could be a propel shot to the upside. A little bit of a fake out there. I'm going to take the money, limit some of the blood from earlier. I just think that there's too much of an opportunity for this to continue a little bit higher. If I'm wrong, it's okay. I could always re-enter. But for now, I want to see something tell me that it's going to disrespect this SMT and the Dow's going to kind of travel lower, or maybe not. Like, I don't know. But the Dow finding support at the midnight opening price, and ES finding also the support after the SMT, and clearly NQ finding some support into this fair value gap after the SMT. That type of stuff I kind of have to get a little defensive on. I don't really want to give up the 50 or 60 bucks after being, about a little heavier in drawdown. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. I would probably, I mean, it does from a standpoint of like I had great risk on the trade, but I'd be kicking myself if I didn't take some of that money off. I could always find something else. Playing off that 1 hour midpoint, really convincing for downside, but trying to be cool. I know these CPI days could be rough, and I have clear technicals shouting in my face, to get defensive on the shorts here. Still getting shoved right at that hourly midpoint. You know, it's like I just don't know if it wants to go any higher. You know, like that's the one thing that I'm kind of contemplating now is like I typically would ignore certain versions of SMT at these lows if I was really convinced it was going to go lower, but I'm just not. Just because the Dow also does have a lot of catch up to play to the upside. It was such a shallow kind of jab into that data high. I just don't have any like super reasonable targets. I mean, I guess you could mark these out on ES, maybe this high, and you have these this kind of impulse leg to the downside. So I guess we'll just keep laddering up our. I'm sorry, guys. I have so much post nasal. But yeah, we'll just keep laddering up targets and kind of wait. Yeah. And again, so if you're wondering why I wouldn't take the long though, what's up, Retta? I'm doing pretty good, man. Bit of a rocky start this morning. Had a nice long in Dow. Didn't take any profits just because I was looking for this type of move here. Never got it. Then tried a couple shorts on NQ and just got rinsed towards around here. Also right around here. So this was actually okay. I feel like I managed this one nicely. But then kind of got hurt in this area. So yeah, then just took a short here. Had to average an initial entry into here, 3 more up here. But anyway, I'm not taking the long just because I'm not sure if it's, you know, it might be done going up. So it's kind of 50-50 in my head right now. It's like a very hard decision to make. Unless it's like this could be a nice little long trade here off the 1 minute invert, BPR invert there. I took a long before CPI news target previous day. Wow, good for you, man. That's a hell of a trade. A lot of cojones too. Get long right before CPI release. Although I'll give it to you, it was a little bit of like nothing burger. It was not like the volatility that we used to see, right? When the inflation narrative was far, far more important. Not to say that it's not important now. It's just we have a lot of different factors that are affecting it rather than just CPI itself. You know, they're more concerned with tariffs and whatnot. I hear you, man. Sometimes you do have to take the risks. That's what that's what I was doing over here, and I just got steamrolled. Yeah, that's right. No risk, no money. No gamble, no future, right? No gamble, no future. I'm actually looking to get some custom poker chips with that saying on it. No gamble, no future. But yeah, we were floating like 360 or something in P&L to the downside. Or excuse me, 360 red day. Clawed back a little bit of cash with the short, but I do really like some downside targets. Like I was saying, like the structure is really nice for a short lower. I'm just wondering if like this is the spot. It feels like it could be, you know? Like I don't see why not. There's a lot of time left on this candle, on this hourly candle. Is the only thing that's a little concerning. $15-minute looks good. Like, excuse me, for a short. I don't know. Like, am I throwing here by not being short right now? I might be. It does look good. I just want to see some sort of SMT on the upside. I mean, you obviously have it between Dow and ES and NQ, but I don't know. I'm looking for some. You know me. I like my smaller time frame SMTs to kind of show me the way. This is also a really nice signature to look at these 5-minute candle bodies respecting the midpoint of the hourly gap. I mean, this is like a great low-hanging fruit trade, like short here down into this 5-minute gap. back into that 30-second, or that, excuse me, that 15-second. Ah, I'm throwing, guys. I'm throwing, throwing. Oh, yeah. I should have let it rip up here again. The structure is so convincing to the downside. It's so weak. Look at all this. So smooth. At least this gap, and then if it's going to go to this gap, you know it's going to want to run out these consolidated lows. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, Retta, I know. Sometimes you get hosed, sometimes you win. And it's just the nature of the game. That's a strong 1 minute wick, huh? I'm so scared. I want to take the short off of this gap to be inverted, but I'm skeptical of it. What a tough decision. Just getting the absolute worst fills in the world. I'm looking for this to kind of hold down. What I was looking at too was the regular NQ contract is a little 1 minute stabbing just above. But it seems like we're kind of getting hosed over now. Back into the 1 minute, give it a shot. So the trade here was using this 15-second to hopefully just kind of be resistance. I'm going to give it a stab above those highs, one chance. Added 3 there, that was a good add. Resistance in this fair value gap. I am looking to get slightly aggressive here. After sweeping these little lows, or excuse me, these highs, finding resistance towards the top end of the 1 minute balance price range. I'm looking for it to kind of peel over. Dow kind of still wanting to travel lower unless it reclaims midnight open there. It just looks weak. Dow looks weak here. I don't like that move. I don't like how it's finding support back at that 15-second gap. I want it to melt through it. Even though it's kind of a nothing level, I don't like how we retook it on the upside. Not as swift of a move. The 1 minute on NQ, regular NQ contract, looks horrendous. Look at this huge gap. Where am I positioned near that? 218.75, 215. I'm actually positioned lower. It's not a great look for me. No. The Dow is just so weak. I can't believe that we wouldn't move up higher. Although I think what could be the death of me here is an ES retracement or somebody retracement to make SMT with ES, like between SMT between ES and NQ. I hate this area. Just blow through it. I'm getting ready to close out of this one. Doesn't feel good. Does not feel good one bit. Taking the small loss there. And I'll move this one to even so that way I don't get completely crushed. But I'm just taking a loss on the ad. I don't like how it's finding support in that 15-second gap. Just so high resistance. Wow, if we get saved here, that would be a miracle. Balance price range needs to melt through, otherwise my stop is gone. Little SMT with the yes here on these highs. 15-second, just got stopped. Sucks. Is it going to suck me back in with this stupid SMT on these sides? Oh my God, it's really trying to. I think I need to. I hate that I am, but I feel like I need to. I don't want to ignore the SMT on these little 1 minutes. It could be how the cookie crumbles. I'm happily take the loss here, risking it. Of course, as soon as I get in, ES wants to play catch up now and take those SMT eyes. We're just gonna save the stop there. There's no point in taking the full stop. Wait for NQ to do something. But yeah, Red, I am anticipating some sort of retracement into a discount. Now we have a little bit more clear SMT. Let's see if that's on the 1 minute. It is within that 1 minute gap. Call me crazy, but I think I try again here. Adding more. Again, I like the SMT now on the 1 minute time frame. Just looking for protected highs to get short off of. And it makes sense now that, right, this 1 minute high is a protected high for NQ, right up into that hourly balance price range. And you do see Dow sort of giving it up to the downside. I could just be trading the wrong asset here to the downside. Not that I would really want to trade Dow to the downside. It just seems like NQ is clearly the stronger out of ES, and NQ is stronger out of the two between ES and itself. Oh, grabbed the wrong thing there. That's my bad. I'm going to try a few more there, adding into the perceived weakness as it slightly moves into my favor. It's going to stab me out, I think, and then maybe kind of go right back down. It's a little annoying, but I have too much size to let it hold. Like, you know what I mean? I'll just have, like, if I get stopped out, I just have to, like, re-add if I feel like getting short again. Look at these 1 minute bodies still respecting the balanced price range. I just want it to puke that low now. So look how it held the top, now held the bottom. This is just pure chop action. Revisiting the top, just needs to puke. Dow weak. Dow into the midpoint. I think of, what is that up? Oh, the midpoint of that hourly fair value gap. ES finally kind of crumbling down. NQ, still same sort of story here. I may just move it just a tick up because I don't want to get ticked out. Holding the balanced price range. Ugly, 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 ugly. SMT on the lows between Dow and ES and NQ now as well. Everything's taking way too long. Everything is taking entirely too long. I'm at a point where I know I'm kind of chalked in this trade, which is frustrating. Which is very, very frustrating. Needs to bleed through this level. Reducing my risk. Wow. ES takes this low. I'm going to have to get defensive on NQ here. Dow's starting to melt lower as well, which is nice, but I'm going to start trimming a little bit off the top of my NQ position as we divert on the bottom end here. I really want to hold it, but I feel like we got lucky with the S&T holding like it did. It was just a really scary trade. Continued weakness from ES is nice. Again, looking at the bigger picture, there's a lot of weak structure on these lows. It's just NQ is just, wants to be Iron Man today, I guess. Like the absolute Hulk of price. Just wants to hold forever. Taking one off there. Just as we're still having some weakness, or excuse me, some strength into this wick. I like ES kind of showing continued weakness into the lows, but NQ needs to really get a move on lower. Just in the wrong asset today. Really testing patience today. I feel like I need to take more off. Taking a few more off there. We're going to let 3 just kind of run, I think. And if we can get nice follow through, then great. Again, the bigger picture, I really do think it makes a lot of sense for us to kind of continue lower. It would be nice if it just flags and dies. Dow is showing a whole lot of weakness. Maybe Dow kind of goes for this gap down here. Really surprising action out of Dow today. It made the rest of the indexes very difficult to trade, to be quite honest. It's really finding some support here at the hourly gap. It just needs to fall through it. Yes, into the volume imbalance on the 5-minute chart. That's something I need to watch out for. I like the speed out of Dow here. I'm taking 2 off. I'm just happy to leave 1 as a runner at this point. And if we can get like a really nice move down, then, you know, beautiful. Where were we? Where's that ultimate target? Where's that like way down here? And we'll just hold it for that. We'll hold 1 micro and we'll just kind of live and die by it. It was a difficult. I got really defensive as well, like on the like why like you may ask yourself, why am I clearing out of positions so quickly? That's because 1, we were floating pretty heavily red in P&L, and 2, I mean, there's no guarantee that we do not just kind of chop right back up and take my stop. So I'm going to take the opportunity to have a small red day rather than a large red day, you know. There you go. We just got stopped at even there. And we'll see what happens. If it rejects this, it is what it is. It sucks, but what are you going to do? Could always get short and risk a high or something. Although it may just reclaim this level like absolute nasty and rip higher. I don't think it should do that, but you just never know. See, the 1 minute's kind of holding it as a rejection level, but what really matters is the 15-second, because that's where we're situated here. It's a 15-second gap. That's kind of convincing. I'm not opposed to the add back. Throw a stop above the high. Realistically, I don't even want to see it get anywhere close to that high, but it's this level that should hold bearish for me. Like, that's why I added it back. It's either make or break into that level. And again, not a lot of size because we, you know, we're trying to conserve the day here. So unfortunately, it just kind of came up and took our stop up right into this gap, and that's kind of what I was afraid of. But there's also the chance, like, there's no reason why we can't do what we just did, and then there's also the chance that it just completely pile drives through everything and continues higher. So on a day like today, I'm just very defensive. That should move lower. I added another, just anticipating this to be a swing high and us continue lower. If you look at the 1 minute chart, you do have this little inversion here that we kind of came up and tapped into. So I could try to put that on the MNQ chart, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's actually almost non-existent on MNQ, but it's there on NQ, which is what matters. So that's that little move there. We can watch from afar through here. Comes up, taps into the volume imbalance. Let's see if it just wants to kind of bleed lower. SMT with the Dow. It's a strong move out of this little micro gap. Oy, oy. What a messy day. That's gonna be it. Unless there's more S&T on this high. I think I'll give myself 200 today. And then I'll probably call it. So what we'll do is we'll go here. We'll say 200. We will say liquidate and block. And we'll just call it there. So we have about 30 bucks to get it right. Yeah, just no just no follow through to the downside. And Dow being like really suspect on the downside here. NQ, I don't really know what we're reaching for anymore to the upside. Like I don't understand this sort of move. Besides this high, I mean, as far as like actual draw goes, is basically what I'm saying. Like actual draw, I don't really understand what we'd be reaching for besides any just like regular swing highs. ES creating very smooth trend line. SMT with NQ. Little turtle soup might be worth a dabble. Unless it finds support there. I'm just trying to give it a chance here before reversing my position to the upside. Like if it's going to give me an opportunity to kind of get out on a retracement. Because ES could run higher here. We'll see. It's using this 1 minute BPR as support now after overtaking it. But you do have the SMT on the upsides here. And again, we have like almost no wiggle room here. And if it is going to continue lower, well then this SMT could do it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of in between two biases here. All right, that's going to end up taking us out for the day, I think. Unless we tried to reverse it, but that's not really going to work too well. Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to cut it for me as far as trading the combine goes. The XFA, I think I'm going to leave alone today. I clearly do not have the best of best reads on it, on the market, unless we get some sort of move. Let's just see for a second here. Because I really am interested in some sort of short trade. And I do like how the S&T is panning out here on the upside. Let's see. We have a 4-hour wick here. Midpoint. Pretty much right around the same spot as the daily candle midpoint there. Big rejection. I think we might have a breakaway gap up here. I'm just trying to keep an eye on ES here, like what we could possibly be at. I don't like how we re-entered into this. I would have preferred it just kind of puke. You could be in trouble for a quick $30 loser. Yeah. All right. Not really, not a lot for me to do. I'm trying to hit the anticipation trades, but they're just not really panning out for me right now. And we do have the S&T with the SNQ still. Taking another one. Just after the sweep of the high, I figured it's either going to use this now as support to continue running higher, or it's going to bleed through it and I have a nice little comebacker here. Again, playing off the S&T between the S and NQ on the higher time frame highs. The hourly candle actually only has a couple minutes left on it. For that reason, I think we're going to abort after we'll put in our, yeah. We're just going to dip out just because the hourly candle is going to open in a couple minutes. It could kind of, so what I'm looking at from an hourly perspective is the BPR, how it's kind of trading above it. The way I see it is hourly BPR, what could happen is we close back in the range, new hour opens and kind of rejects us lower for some sort of retracement to the downside, or maybe it just doesn't, it completely rips to the upside far higher. But as you can see, our stop was safe, but I just, like I said, I do want to give it a chance for that hourly to do its thing. I'll be right back, guys. I'm just going to run to the bathroom real quick. Okay, just in time for the new hour. I'm selling one there. I mean, this looks too attractive as a draw. You also have the S&T on multiple levels between the S and NQ on the 1 minute. on the higher time frames as well, between these highs, between these highs. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a decent risk to take. And we waited for that hourly open, which we have here, right? It did close above that hourly balance price range. So it may not even go back into it in theory. So that is something to look out for, but I'm going to try to trust the SMT and look at the weakness on Dow still. Excuse me. Just using these inverts all day though. Yes, finding support at one of the old highs. Even this gap here is very attractive for a short target. Mm, 5 minute. I just look at Dow too on the hourly fair value gap. Look how it's using that as resistance. This is the midpoint of that hourly fair value gap. Maybe Dow wants to take a low. I think the risk here is just that I'm early on shorts. You know what I mean? Like there's almost no doubt. It's just I'm trying to get involved. Maybe it's the midpoint that NQ will want to reach up into. That would be kind of surprising though if it like really needs to go that high, much higher, after all the SMT displays of SMT. You do have SMT on the lows. I could just have it wrong today. You know? I very well could just have it wrong. I hate these equal highs, but they might hold just because we may go up higher later. Like I've talked about how positive bias, like positive drift to the upside, makes more sense for us to leave equal highs than it does to make equal lows. It could just be ladder up day. It's just everything's so slow. So that's an important area where we're at right now. That's where that hour, like this darker gray area is the balanced price range on the hourly time frame. This is a new hourly candle, so if we're going to disrespect it, you'd want it to just kind of melt right through. We will see. It's fine. This is like the midpoint of it. I don't know why my drawings aren't showing on the 15-second time frame. They're only showing on 30, which is quite annoying, but. So what this kind of gives away here is like that the SMT on these higher time frames, on these highs between ES and NQ, it almost, what it tells me is that it wants to work out for something. Now, like the key point is deciphering like what it wants to work out for. Does it want to take these lows on ES? Is it simply just a means for retracement, maybe into this gap or below these lows to then run higher? That's kind of where the trade management will come in, or just, you know, that's just it. ES making almost equals with these lows, very suspect. Five-minute on Dow. Dow's still in this, you know, order block, this 5-minute order block. Excuse me. Yeah, ES does look, ES is definitely weaker, Retta. ES and Dow are way weaker. I just, you know, I'm comfortable with NQ, even though it's kind of to my detriment today. I've been trying to short NQ all day, and it's just not been the one. Although, also in my defense, ES may be weaker, but it's not really going anywhere. Like, that's the one thing, like, when I have been like, okay, ES is the weaker pair, I should short ES. ES goes, like, nowhere. Sometimes it often pays more just to short NQ, even though if it's stronger, because the point value is higher and the volatility is higher in NQ. So even though NQ may not go, like, point for point lower, like, say, like, ES takes these lows and NQ comes down here and not take these lows, odds are, like, my position in NQ is still going to make more money than my position in ES would be given the same size. So we're getting stuck in that hourly balance price range. I need this to be a breakaway gap. Otherwise, I don't really want to be involved in the trade anymore. Not great how it's finding support on the midpoint of that balanced price range. Needs to go lower. It's just not. And again, I really am only, like, I'm only happy to be involved in this trade if this is a breakaway gap on the 1 minute. Just because, like, if it's not, it kind of tells me that there's a lack of volatility in the move, like a lack of speed to the downside, and it may just want to float higher. I also don't like these highs above. ES is just really slow on the downside as well. Dow is playing, you know, back and forth, chop, chop. You also have the, like I said, the midpoint of the balanced price range on the hourly. It's not really worth my time or the risk to be involved in the trade if it's, you know, and if it stops me out, then, you know, and continues to pour lower, then fine. You know, it kind of is what it is. But clearly today's action is not favorable. And I'm happy to take myself out of harm's way, you know, if that's the case. Sorry, I'll get the cursor out of the way for you guys. So we barely dug into it. Just barely saved, and we're out. Guys, that's going to be it for me today. I think it might be a relentless upside move. If it's not, then that sucks. But it's either PM session will probably give you the nice downside retracement, maybe right now if I'm wrong, but something feels really fishy about this. But yeah, it's either PM session or maybe tomorrow. So I'm actually going to kind of let this one go. We'll just take a small L today on the funded and a small L on the combine. And that's going to be it. Again, I'm still kind of getting over this like sickness. I don't really know what it is. I don't know if I'm sick. I don't know if I have like a sinus infection. But I'm going to, excuse me. All I know is that the market's making my head hurt. And I don't want my head to hurt any more than it does. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys have good luck today. Be careful. Don't go chasing a million shorts like I have. You may get your face ripped off. All things considered, it's MI lunch. The price generally consolidates. Yeah. Well, we're close to MI lunch. I guess you can call 11 o'clock MI lunch. I kind of think about it as like 12 o'clock Eastern time. So like 12 p.m. But 11 works too. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, upside trades obviously made a lot of sense. You know, there was a lot of times where the upside was convincing. Like if we look back here on the 15-second time frames, like this kind of move here, you know, in that old 1 minute gap, I can draw it out. Actually, it's not showing. I don't know why. Oh, it's probably because I deleted it. But this old bounce price range, like this was a, you know, a convincing long. Didn't want to take it just because I believe more in the short side. And then this year, kind of knew I was probably screwed after like it's just the you know, basic technical stuff is like hourly balance price range gets, you know, disrespected on an hourly time frame. Next hourly candle opens, taps into the midpoint of that hourly balance price range. It should be inverted, right? Like if you disrespect it, the next thought is, you know, support turns or resistance turns support. So obviously, you know, you have a trade here. It's good. You know, you could even take the fair value gap long and put the place to stop under here. But again, I don't really. The concepts will show you both sides of the market pretty much all the time. So it's not really the concepts. It's not really the arrays that matter themselves. It's always your narrative and where you think in the draw. Because there's a million, you know, short, long, short, long, short, long. Like you'll see whatever you need to see. It's just a matter, you know. It's just a matter of whether it's gonna, you know, run higher or lower, or where your draw is. So today, I guess my draw and timing was wrong, and that's okay. Although I think I shot myself in the foot with it today, because originally like in the Discord, I actually call for higher prices. It's so funny. I feel like I call for one thing and then do the opposite all day. But so my low hanging fruit objectives for ES were obviously this high, and they're just blue lines. I'm not going to scroll all the way over, but it's this high, and then for NQ it was this new week opening gap. I tried to get long the Dow here, like, you know, and then also I did note that the Dow was a great long opportunity. I thought it was, it just wasn't. So screw the Dow. Sorry. This short, you know, I could have taken it off early, but was trying to just kind of dig my heels in and accept that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, I have plenty of draws for tomorrow, which is nice. Sorry, I'm just going to take away a lot of this hoopla. And yeah, I'm going to quit looking at the charts before I get tempted to take another short because I'm just seeing this SMT. I'm seeing us up by the midpoint of this wick. I'm seeing Dow not playing catch up the way it should. Oh, how bad I want to just rip another short in there. It's all right. We'll be stronger than that. We'll let it pass by us. There's a million other trades to get. And, you know, it is what it is. All right. I'm going to lock out to be strong. Well, not to be strong. It's because I know I'm weak. This will allow me to not have a choice. We'll just take the $40 loss, and that'll be that. All right, guys, I might go to the doctor. I don't really know what I have to do here. All I know is I'm not feeling super great, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Is tomorrow Wednesday?
I think so. My watch is dead, so I can't check the date. Sorry. Okay. All right, I'm out. See you guys tomorrow.